3 companies, 3 flagship AI assistants, and one question everyone's asking. Which one should you actually pay for? Search online and you'll find 100 different opinions, half of them outdated within weeks. So we spent time actually breaking down ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini across the categories that matter most in real, everyday use: writing, coding, research, multimodal work, and price. So you can stop guessing and pick the right one for how you actually work. If you want more honest, no-hype AI tool breakdowns like this one, subscribe and stick around. And drop a comment telling us which of these 3 you're currently using, and whether you've ever paid for more than one at the same time. You might be more common than you think. Before we go category by category, here's the short version that reviewers keep landing on, again and again. ChatGPT tends to win on broad versatility. It has the most mature plugin and integration ecosystem, the widest range of built-in tools, and it's usually the safest default pick if you only want to learn one AI tool and move on with your life. Claude tends to be favored specifically for long document work, writing quality, and coding tasks. It's the one professional writers and developers gravitate toward once they've tried all 3 side by side. Gemini tends to lead on multimodal tasks: images, video, and voice. Plus, it has the deepest integration with the rest of Google's ecosystem, from search to Gmail to Docs. Here's the important part, though. None of the 3 is a universal winner. Plenty of regular everyday users end up quietly paying for more than one, because each one is genuinely better at different things. Let's start with writing, since it's the single most common use case across all 3 tools. For long-form writing, essays, reports, anything that needs to stay coherent and consistent across many pages rather than just one paragraph, Claude is the model most reviewers point to first. Independent comparisons repeatedly cite its natural tone and its consistency across long documents as a standout strength, especially compared to tools that start to drift or repeat themselves the longer a piece gets. ChatGPT remains a genuinely strong all-rounder here too, and it tends to have a slight edge specifically in fast brainstorming and quick iteration, bouncing between 5 different angles on an idea in under a minute. Gemini can absolutely handle long writing tasks as well, though most head-to-head comparisons place it a step behind the other 2, specifically on writing polish, even in categories where it otherwise leads the pack. Now, let's talk about code, because this is one of the more consistent findings across independent reviews, and it's not particularly close. Claude is repeatedly rated as the strongest option for coding and software development, particularly when it comes to understanding large, complex, real-world code bases rather than just isolated snippets. Several comparisons go as far as describing the gap here as not even close, once you're working on anything beyond a toy project. ChatGPT's code interpreter remains solid for quick snippets, one-off scripts, and data analysis tasks where you just need something functional fast, and plenty of developers still reach for it specifically for that. Gemini is genuinely capable for development work too. It's not a weak option by any means, but it's generally viewed by reviewers and working developers alike as less specialized for coding than the other 2, more of a generalist that happens to code decently. Next, research, and specifically how well each tool handles information that needs to be current, not just historically accurate. For research that depends on fresh, up-to-the-minute information, Gemini tends to come out ahead, largely thanks to its tight, native integration with Google Search itself. It's not bolting search on as an afterthought, it's built around it. ChatGPT's web browsing has closed much of that gap over the past year and remains a genuinely strong option for general research, especially for synthesizing multiple sources into one coherent answer. Claude's strength here works a little differently. It's less about real-time freshness and more about depth, specifically its ability to synthesize and reason through long, complex source material once you've actually handed that material to it directly. Now, multimodal work, meaning anything beyond plain text, images, voice conversations, and video. If your work regularly involves any of these, Gemini is generally considered the strongest of the three, with deep multimodal reasoning and Google Workspace integration that was built in from the ground up rather than added later. ChatGPT is a close second here, particularly for image generation and its voice conversation features, which have gotten noticeably more natural over the past year of updates. This is currently Claude's least emphasized area relative to the other two. It's not that it can't handle images or voice at all. It's that Anthropic has clearly prioritized writing and coding depth over building out the multimodal side as aggressively as its competitors have. Let's talk about what this actually costs you. All three offer a genuinely usable free tier in 2026. This isn't 2023 anymore, where free tiers were basically just demos designed to frustrate you into paying. Paid plans across all three cite around the same $20 a month price point for individual users, so pricing alone won't really make the decision for you. ChatGPT's free tier includes limited access to its flagship model, alongside a lighter, faster model for everyday tasks. Though it's worth noting, OpenAI has introduced sponsored suggestions on the free tier this year, which some users find intrusive. Claude's free tier is more message-limited than the other two, but it's frequently noted by reviewers for stronger response quality specifically at that free level. You get less volume, but arguably better output per message. Gemini's free tier is considered the most generous of the three for everyday use, bundling in Google search integration and workspace tools even without a paid plan at all. So, if you had to pick just one, ChatGPT is the safest general-purpose choice, with the broadest toolset and the most integrations if you want one tool that does a bit of everything reasonably well. Claude is the strongest pick specifically if your day-to-day work centers on writing or coding. It's the one power users in those fields tend to land on after trying all three. Gemini is the best choice if you're already living inside Google's ecosystem, or if your work leans heavily on images, voice, or video. But here's the honest, slightly unglamorous answer most heavy users actually land on after enough trial and error: a hybrid approach, using each tool specifically for what it's best at, rather than stubbornly trying to force one tool to do everything. That's the real, honest breakdown of ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini in 2026. No single winner, just different strengths for different jobs, and a price tag that won't really make the decision for you either way. If this helped you decide, subscribe for more AI tool comparisons like this one, and let us know in the comments which one you ended up choosing and why.